Hello everyone and welcome back to another one of my movie wrap-up reviews. Today I got a new slate of movies to talk about with you that I watched in the past week, and those movies are Duel, Sonic 2, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, and Windfall. And a big thing all these movies have in common is that they are fun to some level of degree, so if you hear me repeat myself a lot, then I apologize in advance. Also, as always, I'll leave time codes in the description, so if you want to jump around or just hear about a specific movie, you know the drill. So the first movie I'm going to talk about today is Windfall, mostly because that movie's already been out for a while and I'll just knock that out for anyone who might care what I think about it too. Windfall is a Netflix comedy thriller directed by Charlie McDowell, and this is basically one of the many movies that came to life during quarantine. It's a single location robbery movie that stars Jason Segel, Jesse Plemons, and Lily Collins. Jason Segel plays a burglar who is robbing a tech billionaire's vacation home, and when him and his wife arrive unexpectedly, you have this awkward and slightly humorous hostage situation. And honestly, if you have Jason Segel in your movie, that's already a big plus for me. I absolutely love him as an actor, and I don't think he gets nearly as much credit for it, but he's amazing here. His character here is clearly someone without any sort of plan. Jesse Plemons' character is constantly mocking him for it and holding his hand as he robs him, which is probably my favorite aspect of this entire movie. Jesse Plemons is also another actor that I would say is greatly underrated. Obviously, he can act his ass off, but if you've ever seen anything like Game Night, then you would know that he has great comedic timing as well. That's basically the same character you're getting in this movie too, except he's playing a rich asshole and he is not intimidated at all by Jason Segel's character. Lily Collins is also pretty good for the role that she plays. She's Jesse Plemons' wife in this, and there's an important side plot that involves the both of them, which I didn't think was super well done, but she definitely tried on her part. And yeah, I really like the first two acts of this movie. I love seeing a clueless Jason Segel try to rob this couple, but at the same time be a genuine and compassionate human being. There are moments, especially with him and Lily Collins, where you get a better insight of his character and he doesn't seem like a bad guy at all. As a matter of fact, it actually kind of makes you want to root for him. But where this movie begins to completely fall apart is in its third act. Most of the movie up until this point is very engaging because of Jason Segel's awkward approach to the robbery, but then it tries to get very dark, which felt totally out of nowhere. I guess they do try to subtly hint that this ending is being built up throughout the movie, but it really didn't work and it kind of felt edgy for the purpose of being edgy. Didn't vibe with the ending of this movie at all, and it actually kind of turns me away from everything I did like about it, so I'm going to give this a very frustrating 4 out of 10. I like so much about this movie and I really thought that it was heading in the right direction, but then it just had a queef in my face, and that is just not acceptable. Luckily though, this movie is free to stream on Netflix, so I do recommend you check it out at least once. If anything, I would say the performances make this worthwhile, so if you got 90 minutes to spare, I would say check it out and support our boy Jason Segel. Let's keep this man employed. But moving on to the next movie, we have probably the biggest surprise on the list, and that's Sonic 2. Sonic 2 was unironically a really fun time. I took my younger siblings to go watch this because my little brother loved the first one so much, and I was really surprised by how much I ended up enjoying this one too. The first Sonic movie, while I did appreciate the effort they went to make it right with the fans, it still wasn't really that memorable for me. Jim Carrey as Eggman was great, but everything else you could say was pretty mid. I like Ben Schwartz in the role as Sonic. I think he does a good job at giving Sonic some personality and not making him feel like some lifeless CGI character. But this sequel, man, they really did pull out all the stops and try to make it the most fun it could possibly be. Yes, it's still a children's movie at the end of the day, so don't watch this and expect it to be amazing or anything, but it's definitely got something for everyone. Kids can blindly enjoy this. Adults can laugh at how stupid it is, but in a self-aware kind of way, and I really do think diehard Sonic fans will appreciate the level of detail here. One of the things I think really helped improve this one over the first was them sidelining James Marsden's character. I don't think he's terrible in these movies, but he's definitely the biggest part that feels very generic. He literally just plays white guy. I don't even know what his character's name is. So I think it was smart of them to pull an Alvin and the Chipmunk squeakle on him and find an excuse to get him out of the way so that they can make more room for more interesting and fun characters like Knuckles and Tails. He's still in the movie and has his own important role, but the times that it was just Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Eggman on screen, those were pretty great scenes, not even gonna lie. Knuckles and Tails are obviously characters that are welcome with open arms. I don't think I really need to explain why they're great, but Knuckles especially. I mean, Idris Elba was kinda killing it. As a matter of fact, it kinda reminded me of Dave Bautista as Drax. Very menacing and very dumb, but also has great comedic timing. Jim Carrey is also pretty self-explanatory. I think I can watch him play Eggman all day. He was definitely a scene stealer. It's pretty sad to hear that he's done after this, but I believe we'll see him again. But some of the things I didn't really like about this movie was that the third act wasn't very good, and there was some side characters that I found to be a little annoying. There's a part in this movie that didn't feature any of the Sonic characters. It was just a bunch of human stuff, and I think for about a good 20 minutes I was genuinely questioning what I was even watching. That's not exactly a complaint, but it's definitely like, who thought of this? But yeah, the third act just kind of ends in a really boring and generic way. I know it's a kids movie, so it doesn't have to be all super well thought out, but it's definitely a snoozer. There is an after credits here because fuck you, everything has to be Marvel. But at the end of the day, I had fun, my siblings had fun, and we're probably gonna watch the next one whenever that comes out, so positive experience overall. I'm gonna give Sonic 2 a solid 6 out of 10. It's a really great improvement over the last one, and I'm still genuinely surprised that they made Sonic work as an actual movie franchise. Something I definitely wouldn't have believed back in 2019, but they're finding the ground and I'm here for it. So this next movie I'm gonna talk about is probably the one I've been the most excited to see, and that is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. And this is a movie that you're purely just supposed to sit back and enjoy. I don't want to give this movie any harsh criticism because it's very open about what it is. It's a buddy comedy slash action movie slash parody of Nick Cage. It's honestly a very messy movie, but the fun kind of messy. The kind of messy films like Pineapple Express and The Pick of Destiny have, where it's all self-aware, and as long as you're having fun with it, who really cares? The movie does technically have a plot, but it really doesn't matter if I'm being honest. That's the part where they put the least amount of effort in, and they even have jokes about it too. At one point, Nicolas Cage says that he hates stocky comedies and that they all need some sort of plot to drive the movie, and that's pretty much the sole reason it has one. But honestly, the real reason to watch this movie is to see Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal do LSD together and to cry while watching Paddington 2. Those moments are when this movie is at its peak, and they are just things I never knew I wanted to see. There's a whole spy element to this movie too, which I won't bother explaining, but it was okay, I guess. I actually wish all that stuff was cut out completely because I wanted the whole movie to be Pedro Pascal and Nicolas Cage just hanging out together. But what's even cooler though is that Nicolas Cage is playing himself. You definitely don't have to be a big fan of his to enjoy this movie, but there's definitely a ton of references for those who are. This movie is a celebration of him and his characters, but it's also kind of a sweet nod to cinema in general. There's a lot of appreciation for films outside of his career, which I thought was pretty cool. There's honestly nothing really to hate about a movie like this. Yes, it's got a little bit of a generic story, but that's kind of the point. I will say though, if anything, this movie isn't as fun as it could have been. If you look at something like Mandy, you could have way more fun, and that's pretty straight to the point slasher gore. I'm gonna give The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent an enthusiastic 6 out of 10. It feels like something that you could pick up at any given moment and have a good time with it. It also solidifies as Nicolas Cage as one of the greatest to ever do it, because who else would agree to something like this? It's just awesome and something not to be taken super seriously. Alright, so this all finally leads us back to our final movie, and that is Duel. Duel is a dark comedy science fiction directed by Riley Stearns. He also did The Art of Self-Defense, and if you watch that movie, then I'm sure you'll be able to spot out a ton of similarities. The premise of Duel is that when you're about to die, you can call up a service and they can clone you. That way, so when after you die, they can take your place, that way so your family doesn't have to grieve you or anything. Well, that's exactly the situation the main character Sarah is in, but when she suddenly recovers from her terminal illness, she now has to participate in a court-mandated fight to the death to see who gets to stay. If you've ever seen a Black Mirror episode, then you can kind of make out the vibe this movie has. The character of Sarah also reminded me of someone that I would see in a Yorgos Lanthimos movie. She's very awkward and pathetic. At first glance, you would think that the original Sarah is maybe a clone, but I'm guessing that was a stylistic choice made by Stearns to make some sort of commentary. I liked it though, and I think that Karen Gillan did a really great job at playing both characters. I've never really taken notice of her acting ability, and yeah, this is easily my favorite performance she's given ever. Anyway, Sarah is a very bleak character before her double even enters the picture. You notice that she has a pretty large disconnect with everyone in her life, even her husband, so when they all start to prefer the double over the original, you get this very original, pretty funny story. Aaron Paul is also in this movie. He plays the trainer that gets Sarah ready for her duel, and he was just as hilarious. This movie isn't very long either, so that's another reason why this reminded me of a Black Mirror episode. Normally, I wouldn't mind a short runtime, but judging by the ending this movie had, I think it could have used a bit more time building that up. Which, yeah, I kind of hate to say it, but this is another Windfall situation where I like so much of the movie, but the ending just doesn't deliver on the same level. But here's the thing. Whereas Windfall just kind of threw a curveball and felt sort of shoehorned in, I actually do see a version of Duel's ending working. The only reason I didn't like it was that once you got to the third act, it was super predictable, which a big part of what made this movie so much fun was the suspense leading up to the duel, and I was kind of let down. But I won't say any more on that. I did like my time with the movie overall, so I am going to give it a positive rating. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. It could have been so much higher if it wasn't for the ending, but at the same time, it didn't completely destroy everything I liked about it, so please don't let my comments scare you away from watching this movie either. Despite what I've said, I do recommend you watch this movie whenever you get the chance. It's very entertaining, it's good for the theater or for streaming, and I think it still may be my favorite out of the bunch I've reviewed today. But with that being said, I do think it is time to close out the video. I did want to give a quick thanks if you made it this far or if you just kind of got here by chance, but the fact that anyone would care about what I have to say about anything really does mean a lot to me, so thanks again for watching. I don't think I'm going to be doing any more wrap-up reviews anytime soon. I'm pretty much all caught up now with what I wanted to review, so from here on out it should be steady releases, so back to solo reviews after this. I think the next video I do will be on The Northman, which I'm very excited for, so be sure to check that out sometime this week. But thanks again for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye.